Yeah. Freedom of speech. You can say what you want to, but you can't. You shouldn't be able to say whatever you want without consequence. So, yes, there are do's and don'ts when it comes to freedom. Hi there. Welcome back to Neeshi's Noggin, where I share with you what's on my mind. Now, as someone who has made a living for speaking for damn near a decade, I am very aware of what freedom of speech can be. And I'm very aware that the consequences can be justified. Let's talk about Harrison Butker.
Because I think it is you, the women, who have had the most diabolical lies told to you. How many of you are sitting here now, about to cross this stage, and are thinking about all the promotions and titles you are going to get in your career? Some of you may go on to lead successful careers in the world, but I would venture to guess that the majority of you are most excited about your marriage and the children you will bring into this world. I can tell you that my beautiful wife, Isabel, would be the first to say that her life truly started when she began living her vocation as a wife and as a mother.
Now we can get the obvious. Let's get that out of the way. Yes, this was wildly inappropriate for a graduation speech. Yes, this was wildly misogynistic. Yes, this was weird. It was weird. To be clear, it's not wrong for an individual to want to be a SAHP, an SAHP, a stay-at-home parent or a stay-at-home partner. It could not be me, but good for you if that is you or if that's what you want to be. That's fabulous. The obvious problem here is telling women that they have been lied to about their dreams and aspirations, and that if they have dreams and aspirations beyond the life of a homemaker, that it's categorically false. Meaning that the only life for a woman is the life of a homemaker. Sir, my immediate thoughts when I saw this was, at this point in my time, like both as a pop culture enthusiast and on social media, I'm watching this and I'm like, I know this is about to be the talk of the, if not already when I'd watched this, I was like, this is definitely going to be the conversation. And I know that what kind of outrage it's going to cause, appropriately so. But I'm thinking to myself, and I'm listening to this man's speech, and I'm wondering, okay, so he's saying that his wife is a homemaker, stays at home and raises the children and takes care of the house. Do I know anybody in my life that genuinely does that? I'm 35 years old. I'm really proud of the fact that I have groups of friends and acquaintances, and they kind of span across different demographics. So I'm thinking to myself, okay, who do I know that is living this life successfully? Because that's the key thing here. The key thing here with this is that this has to be a success. And so I'm thinking to myself, like, okay, at first I'm thinking of who? Like, who do I know that lives this way? I can't think of anybody currently. Now the who is becoming when. So I'm traveling back in time. I'm like, okay, I can think of a couple examples of a successful relationship where it's a household. One person is making money. The other partner is staying at home and taking care of the home and the kids. I can think of like a couple examples in my life. I have to go back to the prehistoric era, you know, the 2000s. But that's what I come back to 2024 and I'm like, okay, where have I seen this example? And the only place that I have seen this kind of work, this kind of dynamic, is in adult entertainment. I think this is the only time that I have seen this type of role play work out and work successfully, because the goal is very different. Like I was really I'm thinking to myself, and I'm like, what this man is talking about, like, this is, to me, it sounds like fetish content. It doesn't sound practical. It doesn't sound realistic. It sounds like this is some role-playing stuff that you do in the boudoir. And let me, since I'm talking my stuff, let me also say, it's not that I haven't partaken in a scenario or two myself. And that was a success. While that was funny to me, I'm brought back to the scenario of where Harrison Butker, who is doing this commencement speech at, what is it? Benedictine, is this how you say it, right? Benedictine College in Kansas. You're talking to the men and the women and all of the people that are graduating from college and telling them, basically, you've all been lied to. Men are supposed to be the ones to go out and work, and women are supposed to be the ones to stay at home and take care of their home. What was the point of these ladies going to college then, sir? So I started looking into this, and like this college, it's a private college and it's a Catholic college. Now, I am not familiar with Catholicism, but I'm just going to make an assumption here. And I'm going to assume that just like in many like major organized religions, I want to say that the thoughts and the ideologies lean more conservative. So now we're going to go back to the way that this man has talked about this fetishized lifestyle of basically like this role play, adult entertainment-esque way of thinking. And it makes what he said that much more offensive. What this man is talking about, it doesn't sound real to me. It's a fantasy, which got me to thinking that, is this what your example of heterosexuality is? Because I'm very confused right now. Like, you are looking at a very, frankly, hypersexualized. This is a very hypersexualized idea of what it means to be in a committed relationship between a man and a woman. I'm not straight by any means, but even I'm aware that this is not what is the relationship for straight people. Not only is it really not feasible in today's economy, but also when we're talking about the way that we have taken back some of the constructs that we've created around gender roles, and hopefully one day the construct of gender. But I'm going to play the following clips because I'm not going to be the one to say this without check these clips out.
Not the deadly sin sort of pride that has an entire month dedicated to it.
Hey, Harrison. I'm not sure if you remember me. Georgia Tech, freshman year, 2014, Glenn Hall. I think I remember your nickname was Face Down, Butker Up. And you were a fun drunk. Anyways, toodles, babe.
When I first saw videos of this man going around, I thought I recognized him from somewhere. And then I remembered that a couple years ago, when I was at a cheer competition in Kansas City, I saw him on Grindr. He wore an ugly camo print hoodie in his profile picture, a lot like this one. You've probably heard the rumors about him sleeping with a male cheerleader during his early days on the Chiefs. And coming from the mid-Missouri cheer scene, word travels fast. And word on the street is that he likes skinny, brunette twinks. A lot like his wife, but a man. This is all alleged, of course, meaning that because I don't want to get sued, this could all be made up. But it is very interesting that it oftentimes is the most homophobic men.
After Kansas City Chiefs kicker Harrison Butker used his commencement speech to talk about how women should just be raising families, the internet was quick to point out that his kids aren't his. Here's the story of Harrison Butker and the life he's been trying to hide from the public. Apparently, Harrison was raised in a Latin mass Catholic cult where he was not allowed to speak or look at women until the age of 18. Because of the way that Harrison was raised, he ultimately ended up being sent to a conversion therapy camp sponsored by Mike Pence. In an attempt to win back the love of his father and establish some sort of masculinity, Butker decided to play football. But after being tackled for the very first time, he immediately quit because it was quote-unquote too painful. Butker later learned about a position called kicker where he doesn't have to tackle anyone and they can't tackle him. Now back to the kids thing. A lot of claims have swirled around the internet, and of course none of them have yet been validated and proven. By simply doing the math around the ages of his children and looking at the time when Harrison was away from his team, again, what people widely expect to be his time in conversion therapy yet again, we can understand that he wasn't involved. So when Harrison spoke out against the existence of gay relationships, it's important we know where he was coming from.
Now, I'm just showing you what I saw, and I'm just playing you what I heard, okay? How do I put this? This is not my information to confirm. This is all alleged. Okay. Now, with that being said, I also want to say that I am not in the business of outing somebody. And let's talk about freedoms again. Part of the freedom of speech is that you have the freedom to not speak, which is what, Harrison, you should have exercised that when it came to doing this commencement speech. You should have just not spoken. But I'm not in the business or interested in outing people because, again, you have the freedom to not talk about that. In fact, if these rumors have any validity to them, let's say that there is a man and a woman that are both under an agreement and are consenting to each other that like, hey, we're going to play this heterosexual marriage thing, and then we're going to go and we're going to go and do our own thing on the side with the same sex. I'm not talking about the legalities of it all from a moral perspective. If these two adults are consenting to this, so be it. Whatever. The problem is that I'm so jaded and I've had so many experiences with a lot of men. Oh my God. That are, in my case, very interested in stepping out on their heterosexual marriage to explore what it might be like to be with another guy. And, I'm old enough now to know that a lot of these men were lying to me about how I've never done this before. Before I make any moves in my marriage, I just want to make sure that this is certain because I'm getting rid of my wife and my kids. That used to work on me at one point. It really did. Like, I really was there to try and help them. This is where I would mess up because I was like, oh my God, that sucks. Like, I would love to be your friend. And it's like, that's not what they're asking for, sweetie. They want to. It's very unfortunate that this was the biggest scandal that happened this week as far as BS news goes, because this is stupid. What this man was talking about was a lack of choice, a lack of freedom. And he was speaking about this lack of freedom by way of exercising his freedom of speech. There's so much irony. The ultimate lesson is that, yes, we do have the freedom to say whatever we want to say, but that doesn't mean that there's not consequences to it. And I really wish that this man thought about that all the way through, because some of these accusations of this man, if they are true, in all honesty, sir, if you are allegedly not living your authentic life and you are choosing to just say, you know what, I'm not going to do that. Because I literally have known men that have dipped their toe in the gay pond and they said, this is too scary. I'm getting out. I'm done. You have every right to do that. But there is a consequence to that. If that's truly who you are, if that's truly how you feel, it's going to come out one way or another. It would be best if you took charge and you made a conscious effort to find out who you are as a person and figure out how to live as that person as authentically as possible. Because if not, now you have so many other things that are involved here. This man is a player on the Kansas City Chiefs, the team that just won the Super Bowl. Everybody is paying attention to the Kansas City Chiefs, even otherwise, because Travis Kelce, who plays on the Chiefs, is dating Taylor Swift and has been for several months. It's been a year at this point now. Like, this is affecting your career. This is affecting the people that are involved in your career. And that's secondary. Primary is that now you have a wife and kids. And if these allegations are true, now you're messing with them too. And this is going to affect them possibly for the rest of their life. If not just the consequences of this speech, but again, if what is being said is true, it's going to be the consequences of you not trying to be your true authentic self. Honey, I send my love to everybody that is still in the closet, that is still not feeling comfortable enough to be able to live their true authentic self. Because I understand that I speak from the privilege of being an American who was very obviously gay. And by way of being obviously gay, I found my people. But just remember that there are consequences. Be as true to yourself as you possibly can be. Remember that there is a thing called consent. And you can also remember that you have a brain and you can use that brain and not, when invited to do a commencement speech, go up and talk to a group of young people and tell them that the men are the only ones that are allowed to work and that the women are only allowed to be at home and to continue to create children. Stupid. So again, there's do's and there's don'ts when it comes to everything in life, when it comes to your freedom of speech, and even when it comes to international travel. Oh, yes. Last week, I had given you a little teaser. Yes, I was almost stranded in London. I'm going to talk to you about that. But first, these are quick tips that I want to give to you as someone who's now traveled internationally twice this year. Actually, twice in a month. Oh, yeah, baby. Twice in a month. And I want to give you some quick little tips. If you're trying to travel internationally, first and foremost, check them visas, honey. When I went to India, I had to apply for a visa from the Indian government. You could do it online, thankfully, but I had to apply for that visa and I had to get approved. And when I got to India, I had to provide said paperwork. So just keep that in mind. Number 2, get an international cell phone plan. Honey, I'm very thankful that I went on a family trip. It was a group trip that included my family. Because we were going on a very important trip to go back to India and I'm still on my family plan. My dad took care of the international cell plan, but look into that beforehand because you're definitely going to want to be able to call, text, and get access to data when you are gone internationally because you never know what's going to happen. I'm a Verizon girly, and I looked at what the prices are to have like an international plan on a Verizon phone plan is $20 a day. What I've seen some people do on TikTok, I want you to look into this and research this more, but I have seen some people talk about when they land at a place internationally, they'll go and buy a hotspot, like a personal hotspot, and then they'll take the hotspot with them, connect their phone to that, and have that as their provider 24/7. Because the hotspot's like $30 a month versus $20 a day. Damn. Number 3, bring entertainment. On my flight from London to India, and then from India to London, there was no Wi-Fi on the flight. Thank God I had downloaded movies and I downloaded some games onto my iPad that I brought with me. So I had that because 8.5 hours without Wi-Fi for a girl like me, I don't think so. Number 4, get a travel adapter. It's way more cost efficient for you to get a travel adapter in your home space. And if you're wondering what I mean by that, I mean that the plugs that we use here in America, this right here, this is America. Other countries, their outlets don't fit this. So you need to get an adapter that's going to fit that. I saw travel adapters at Target for as cheap as $12 when we were stranded in London and had nowhere to go. And my phone the battery was draining because we were there way longer than expected. I didn't have an adapter in London. I only had India adapters and then my plugs for America. So I had to go from the hotel that we were staying at and go down to the gift shop because my battery was literally on 11% and ask them how much is an adapter. Girl, the cheapest one was 30 pounds. And I just assumed that was $60. And I was like, I don't even care. Just give it to me. I will charge this to my credit card. We'll take care of this later. So keep that in mind. Take a travel adapter. Now, finally, there are many more tips that you could take. Please do research. Absolutely. But finally, when it comes to your passport, when you're traveling internationally, if you have lost your passport and you report your passport as lost/stolen, and then find said passport, don't assume that everybody else knows that you found it. So I'm not going to say who did this. What I can say is that someone in our group lost their passport, then found it, but before finding it, reported it as lost as stolen, then found their passport and decided, well, I found it, so I'm just going to fly. Literally flew from India to London. London was supposed to take us to Toronto, Canada. And then from Canada, we were supposed to fly back to Chicago. Very complicated, whatever. I didn't book the tickets. We get to London and we're going through security and I get through fine. The rest of the group gets through fine. Then we have one last straggler that's not going through fine. And because we're in security, we can't just make a commotion and ask for a manager or whatever. This is government-run security. And this is in London, so this is not my home country. I don't know how things go here. I don't know who to talk to. I don't know anything. So this one last person is getting held up and they don't know why. And they're just like, there's something that's going on in Canada. And Canada is saying basically, yes, you do have your boarding pass that you did pay for. Yes, you do have this passport that's in front of us, but for whatever reason, we're not letting this person go through. Holding up the line as security and everything. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, what are we supposed to do? So eventually security says, we're going to have to take this person and they need to go to the immigration office. What? Go to the immigration office. They're being held in an office separately. Then we get a text in the group chat saying, I think I'm getting detained. What? An officer from the immigration office comes out and says, hey, just keeping it real with you. Person that we got in there. Yeah, they reported that passport as oh my God, I can't say this. Lost/stolen. We can clearly see that this person is who they say they are. However, Canada is like, girl, listen, you cannot cross the border and come in here with an illegal form of documentation, government documentation. Then when Canada says that, then America is just like, oh, wait a minute. Somebody's trying to get back into the country with a stolen passport? I don't think so. So now we're getting told by 2 different countries that we're not letting you come back in here until you figure it out. What? So we go to rebook our flights. We have to rebook 3 different times because each time they're like, oh, wait, that passport isn't valid. And we're like, we know, girl, but this is the real person that's right here. This is really them. Cut to, eventually, we are told that the individual needs to go to the U.S. Embassy and they need to go and get an emergency passport. They come to this conclusion 5 minutes after the embassy offices have closed in London. So we have to stay overnight at the airport hotel in London. In the morning, we are told, good luck, because we don't know how long it takes for an emergency passport to be issued. What? At this point in time, I did say to the group, I might just fly without y'all because I can't deal with this anymore. I can't take this anymore. I gotta go. Thankfully, the emergency passport was issued, got back to America just fine. The ultimate thing is that when it comes to government documentation, you need to take that very seriously. When you're traveling to different countries, every country has different rules. In a proper world, should this person have even been able to leave America with a lost passport? No, but they did. And nobody caught on to the issue until we tried to go to Canada. And then when Canada found out about it, they said, hey, world, this passport is stolen. Oh my God, reliving it is so unnecessarily painful. And it's hot as hell here in Chicago. I don't know why people live for this weather. I'm so glad I don't live in the heat anymore, but this is pushing it for me. It's like 80 degrees outside. I turned the air conditioner off so I can record this video, so I can chat with you. This conversation is officially over. Thank you so much for watching. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe. I love you very much. Stay hydrated, stay warm. If you're traveling, get your freaking passport in order.